I'm your host, Jeff Sart. We're going to take you behind the scenes with the craft distillers who are pouring their heart and soul into crafting the next version of America's spirit. This is the Great American Whiskey Cookers. On the far western side of Iowa, in the middle of corn and soybean fields, sits a small family-run distillery by the name of Lonely Oak Distillery. The master distiller, Pat Hoffmann, started his distillery with two main ideas in mind. He wanted to be true to himself, and he didn't want to be like everyone else. Check out the episode and the origin of Lonely Oak Distillery. Welcome to this edition of the Great American Whiskey Cookers. I am here in Earling, Iowa, and I'm at Lonely Oak Distillery talking with Pat Hoffmann, and we are talking all sorts of whiskey. Hey, before I get too far into this, like us on the socials, Facebook, go to our website. You'll find all sorts of videos there, and you can step it up, go to Patreon. We'd really appreciate the support. So let's talk whiskey and how you got into whiskey, because you don't come at this naturally.
I've got the biggest names in whiskey that have helped me.
Because you said you worked with Dave Pickerel.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
And Nicole Austin.
Yep. They were together. They had a company together. So I'm trying to put this whole thing together. We're going to do it, but we can't find
Anybody to help you?
I mean, there's not a lot of consultants out there, or that, you don't go to the yellow pages and try to find it, and if you can Google and find them, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I read an article, a guy was opening up a distillery, and he was kind of doing something similar to me, but it was up north, and he was doing more rye and sugar beets and stuff like that. And I read this, it was in a magazine, and he mentioned a consultant. Didn't mention a name, he just mentioned that he worked with a consultant to help him out. So I through the American Craft Spirit Association, I figured out who it was, and I called him, and he's like, yeah. He said, yeah, I'll give you his number. And so his name's Dave, and he wrote his number down, and I wrote the number down, and put it in my wallet, and never thought anything, I'll get to it sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So about a week, 2 weeks later, that gentleman calls me back, and he said, hey, have you called Dave yet? And I'm like, no, I didn't know who Dave was. I had no clue. I just knew Dave. It was just Dave.
Okay.
And he goes, have you called Dave yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't yet. He said, do me a favor, throw that number away, because I probably shouldn't have given it to you. And I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. Okay. Well, now you got your phone?
Now you're in, right?
Yes, yeah. So I started Googling, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, Maker's Mark for 15 years, throw around names, George Washington, Whistle Pig, you throw all that in.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. So I called Dave once a week for 6 months. And I always left the same message. Hi, this is Pat. We're opening a distillery called Lonely Oak Distillery. We're gonna be a field to bottle distillery where we're gonna do everything. We'd love for your help. When you have time, give me a call. So never heard a response. Never. 6 months go by, I'm still calling him once a week, and it's a Saturday morning, and I'm sitting at my son's bitty ball soccer game. He's probably 4, kicking a little soccer ball around, and my phone rings, and it comes up, Dave Pickerel. And I stood up, and I walked away, and my wife was upset. She had no idea who I was talking to, but because I'm not watching my son play soccer.
Right.
And I spent about 45 minutes on the phone with him, and the first thing he said was, hey, you're the most patient man I've ever met, and I appreciate you taking my call, because I haven't called you back in such a long time. I want to hear your story, and if I'm not interested, I promise I'll pass you along to somebody reputable, which is a very nice way of saying, hey, I'm not interested, but stop bugging me.
Yeah, it really is.
Stop bugging me. So I told him what we wanted to do, what my vision was, and what our plan was. And we were going to do everything from put the seed in the ground, pouring the booze in the bottle, all done right here by us on our farm. And when I got done, he said, I'm in. He said, you're the next big thing in distilling. People want to know where their food comes from. People want to know where their liquor comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, what do you got? I said, I got nothing. I said, I can't get quotes on anything. So, he quadrupled the size of about everything that I wanted to, and instead of spending this much, I'm spending that much. And he said, this is what you want to do, and this was a Saturday morning. And he said, I'll have quotes to you by Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I open up my email and there's quotes on everything I need from half a dozen different manufacturers from all over the world.
Wow.
And he was like, these are my recommendations, here, give me a call later and we'll discuss. And so that, I mean, I went from nothing to everything in 2 days, where I had spent probably 6-8 months, probably longer, trying to get that, you know. And so Dave was, he taught us everything that we knew. He helped us with equipment, distilling, mash bills, all of that stuff. Nicole Austin was his engineer. She helped us with everything too. With workflow, you know, everything, even marketing, Nicole did. So the best part about the whole thing was, you know, I mean, was when I met Nicole, Dave had passed. I believe the November before, and her and I were at the American Craft Spirit Association, the awards up, and I believe it was in Minneapolis. And they gave 10 gold medals in the whiskey category. So that's a tough competition. I mean, that's bourbons, rye, single malts, the whole works. And they gave 3 of those 10 to bourbons. And she got 2 of them for Kings County bourbon, and I got 1. And that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool when we got that. Our whiskey's getting better. I mean, just because I think our 2-year-old whiskey or 4-year-old whiskey today is better than our 4-year-old whiskey was, you know, 3 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah, because we're learning. We know how to make it. We know, you know, our processes have been developed. You know, we've expanded into using different grains, which, like I said, you know, the one thing you don't want to do is not innovate. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why, you know, I mean, you know, we have our Steeple Ridge bourbons and our Steeple Ridge rye. You know, we were talking about business. You know, what is Big Liquor's fiduciary obligation? Right? Value to the shareholder.
Right.
So we're going to do more with less. We're going to automate more. We're going to take less of the human component out of it. Why did you make your cut here? Well, because the temperature on the computer probe said to. There's nobody tasting it. I mean, I don't know, maybe there is, but I'm guessing not. You know, the craft, it's 1% craft, 99% science. We're not like that here. Every batch is individual.
And you have 200 acres here, right?
Right on this site.
On this site, with more acres somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
We actually have over 3 or 4 different sites.
Okay.
We grow corn on 2 of them, and we do a 50-50 rotation. So we have one field where we'll grow distiller's corn 1 year, and then we'll have another smaller field where we'll grow distiller's corn the next year. So we grow heirloom varietals. We grow things that made whiskey great a long time ago. And so, you know, that process of thinking, you know, what we're doing here is nothing new, right? I mean, this is the way it was always done. When you're a farmer, well, yeah, you can also distill. But today, it's all big business. And so everybody thinks what we're doing here is new. The only reason it's new is because no one is doing it this way anymore, or very few people are.
Sure.
And so we thought we could take it to the next level with growing the grains we want and doing it ourselves, and not trying to be, not trying to make the most whiskey we can. We're trying to make the best whiskey that we can. Why am I doing it? You know, I like to think that it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
Because
those guys sitting back there, and there's 2 twins. We'll show them to you later on. There's 2 twins standing back here.
can you say 2 twins? That's
a good point.
You're the wrong guy. You can say 2
twin boys sitting back here, and they're just got grins on their faces like you can't believe. How many kids do you have altogether?
We have 5. We have my daughter Lexi is 26, Dave and Will are 24. Mike is going to be 17 next week, and Charlie is going to be 15 next month.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so 4 boys and a girl.
That's fantastic.
And then my wife Amy.
Yeah.
So they're a big part of this. These guys, they built this tasting room. Dave and Will did. not knowing what it was. Oh, we're just gonna build a shop, out here.
What's the deal with the penny? What's the deal? I mean, I see this on your bottles all the time.
Right.
Why?
Well, the penny symbolizes our still
Okay.
and the history of copper and distilling.
Okay.
When we were going to, it was part inspiration, part desperation. So when we started our North 40 vodkas, the vodka was the first thing that went for sale.
Yeah.
We needed a neck label, and I had my label done. It's got a platinum map in the background. It's really cool, and we had all that done, but we needed something to finish the bottle off. And I had my designer, great guy I've worked with ever since we started, design the neck labels. And so he sent them to me, and I cut them out, and I'm putting them on the bottle. No, 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 no. And I'm crying because our vodka's going out in July, and I can't finish the bottle. And I told my wife. She said, I really don't care for any of them, and neither did I. And so I went back to where I was working, and amongst the scraps of papers that I had cut out, there was a penny sitting there. So I put some glue on it and stuck it on the bottle, and I'm, what do you think? And she said, I love it. And she said, what does it mean? And I told her, our skill, our history of copper and distilling.
Okay.
And she said, let's do it. So I have some friends that I value their opinion. One of them is a judge in Kansas City. And I called him and I said, Jim, what do you think of this? I sent him a picture of it with a penny on the bottle and told him the story in a text. And he called me up and asked me some questions. I said, what do you think? He goes, well, honestly, I think it makes it look cheap. And I said, well, honestly, you can go because the decision was made. So I learned, don't ask too many people for their opinion. I can only imagine. So that's why every bottle has a penny on. We actually just switched to old pennies. We used to use new pennies.
Yeah, I know.
We buy them on eBay. Cost us 3-4 cents a penny. It's crazy, I know. But my wife kind of came up with the idea, let's use old pennies. Let's use copper pennies. So these are all I can't remember if it's 37 or from 43 to 83 they used copper, so all of them are copper pennies, yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a great story.
Except for the wheat had a nickel on it. So
Because it was
a 5-year.
Yeah.
We tried to get wheat pennies, but those are expensive.
Those are expensive.
I can't.
Those would jack the price up quite a bit.
That would have been cool though.
Yeah, that would have been very cool. So where do they find you? How do they get in touch with you, and where do they find your spirit?
Well, they'll find us at lonelyoakdistillery.com. We're in Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Colorado, Kansas City Metro. We're continue to grow. You can go to our website, and we ship nationwide.
Okay, fantastic. And of course, you have the website, lonelyoakdistillery.com they can go to.
Yes.
Facebook, right? You can find us, GreatAmericanWhiskeyCookers.com. I'm Jeff for the Great American Whiskey Cookers. The crew's behind me, along with the twins standing back here. Check us out on Patreon. We would really appreciate it. Until next time, if you can't be good, be good at it. That was great.
I can't even remember what I said.
Oh my God, that was phenomenal.
No, yeah.